first responders here in our community that protect us, and over our armed forces and all of those who serve us in harm's way. And I finally ask your blessing upon each and every person in this fair city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next on our agenda, we have a presentation from the Canby Kiwanis Club. I believe we have Mr. Todd Gary here.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Todd.
You're working out. Yes, I'm here as the Canby Kiwanis president tonight, and not as Canby Fire tonight. So we do have a presentation, but I'd like to give you a little history, a little bit about Kiwanis. Kiwanis was formed in 1915. It was formed as a business group, kind of like the chamber. And it was a bunch of businessmen getting together to see what was going on. It became an international association in 1919. They started in Detroit, so they were very close to Canada. It was easy to go international. Now it's worldwide. Kiwanis is all over the world. Our motto is serving the children of the world. Everything we do is for the kids. Our club in Canby was formed in 1938. Happy to say we're celebrating our 78th anniversary this year. That's a long-running club in Canby. We've been here a while. 55 members and growing. Part of our members are here with us tonight. And some of our employees of the thrift store are also with us tonight. Some of the things we're known for in the community, we do the community food and toy drive at Christmas time. The Kitty Caper Parade is what kicks off the Clackamas County Fair. Care Awards for teachers and staff in the Canby schools. We sponsor the Key Club, the Builders Club, and Terrific Kids is also one of our projects in the schools. We sponsor Boy Scout Troop 258. We've been a sponsor of them for over 75 years. We also sponsor Cub Scout Pack 503. We give financial support to and volunteer to community organizations such as the Canby Center, the Junior Livestock Auction, Red Cross, Dornbeckers, St. Patrick's Food Pantry, the Adult Center, and many more. Our thrift store was started in 1953. With that thrift store, all that goes back to the community. So the donations that everybody gives to the thrift store gets sold. The money goes to the Kiwanis, goes in our foundation, and we give it back. That's what we do. We also employ. We employ people of the community at our thrift store. Some of the larger projects we've done through the years that have benefited the community and we've worked on and been instrumental on, the Canby Swim Center, the Boy Scout A-frame down in the park, and lighting of some of the ball fields. Empty Field was one of those that the Kiwanis worked on many years ago. So we were looking at what were we going to do for 100 years, 1915 to 2015? What would be a great project for us? The library stood out. It stood out strongly as an obvious fit, a perfect fit for us. Because remember, we're all about children. We're all about children. And what's better for children than literacy? And working towards that, and a place for the kids to go and things to do. So with that, we feel privileged to be able to sponsor the completion of the children's area in the new library. And we hope this gift will inspire other groups and individuals in the community to donate to this worthwhile project. So on behalf of the Canby Kiwanis, I'm honored and it's my pleasure to present the Canby Public Library with a check for $50,000 to fund the Canby Kiwanis Children Area.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Problem, right? Okay. Perfect. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
And to all of you, thank you. Doesn't seem to quite cover it. This is a tremendous donation to the library, and this will do a whole lot of good for the library, for children's
section of the library. So thank you all very, very much for this. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
We also want to thank Amanda for all the hard work that she has put into this. She's doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
Wow. They actually took a group photo before we got up here, so I'm sure it'll get passed around, but yeah, so.
Councillor Hyde, is that a Kiwanis t-shirt you're wearing?
It is. I'm a member too.
There you go. Well, again, thank you all so very, very much. That's tremendous. I think it's our largest donation yet to the library, and can't say thank you enough. So, yeah, huge, very tremendous.
Yeah, if I can take a minute and add, this has been a great, wonderful group to work with. From the very beginning, they stepped in and said, we really want to sponsor the children's area in the library. So the children's area will be named after the Canby Kiwanis group. There'll be some signage and a plaque in that area. And that we really hope that when we do our grand opening that your group can come and actually cut the ribbon into the children's area.
Yeah.
There'll be lots of
We want to have
recognition.
quite a few kids.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes. One of the questions that we get a lot is, why are you fundraising if you have the money to build this project? And we do have construction money. It has been a constant conversation back and forth, what we put in, what we take out, what the priorities are. We have a whole list of items that are not currently funded that we think are close to essential, if not essential, to the building. So there's some pieces that we'll be able to enhance the children's area that we'll be able to purchase now. And we'll be getting our architects together with some members of the Kiwanis. We'll go to one of their meetings and present some of the things, options that they might want to have to enhance that area that would not be possible without specific funding and without the donation. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And also, as the building's going up, we're getting a lot more positive comments and a lot of support from the community. I also wanted to recognize a private individual that had a spouse that passed away last November. His name is John Mulick, and he's a member of the community, was an avid library user. His children attended Canby High School, and in memory of him and his love of the library, his family has made a $50,000 donation as well to support and fund the fireplace and quiet reading area in the library. So
Wow.
it is amazing, and it just humbles me to work with groups and individuals like this that give to this community, and it's just going to be a really fantastic project.
Well, it has been, we'll call it a labor of love for a number of years now, and so to be to this point and to have the community, I still get the occasional, what are they building over there by Thriftway?
I know, it's so funny.
And, we built the first section, which was the two-story part, and I think everybody thought, oh, well, that's the new library. And then when the beams went off of the building to keep going, I'm getting a lot more of the wow factor of the size and the magnitude of the building. And it is, it's as Amanda said, the back and forth of the funding for the construction of the building, but then what goes in it. And it's donations from you all, and then from the Mulick family that help get that filled in and help us really open it in a way that our whole community can be so very proud of. And yeah, this is tremendous. Wow, I'm very overwhelmed and touched. It's huge. So thank you. Yeah. Wow. Any other thoughts, comments?
Well put, Mayor.
Okay.
Just very good.
Well,
Great.
thank you again. Thank you guys all very much. Thank you.
We'll see you in 6 months.
Give him a minute to exit stage left.
give a minute here for some clearing out. Next on the agenda for us this evening is a proclamation recognizing Vietnam Veterans Day. Whereas on January 12, 1962, United States Army pilots lifted more than 1,000 South Vietnamese service members over jungle and underbrush to capture a National Liberation Front stronghold near Saigon. Operation Chopper marked America's first combat mission against the Viet Cong and the beginning of one of our longest and most challenging wars. Through more than a decade of conflict that tested the fabric of our nation, the service of our men and women in uniform stood true. 54 years after that fateful mission, we honor the more than 3 million Americans who served, who paid tribute to those who have laid to rest, and we reaffirm our dedication to showing a generation of veterans the respect and support of a grateful nation. And whereas the Vietnam War is a story of service members of different backgrounds, colors, and creeds who came together to complete a daunting mission, it is a story of Americans from every corner of our nation who left the warmth of family to serve the country they loved. It is a story of patriots who braved the line of fire, who cast themselves into harm's way to save a friend, who fought hour after hour, day after day to preserve the liberties we hold dear. From Ai Drang to Hue, they won every major battle of the war and upheld the highest traditions of our armed forces. And whereas 11 years of combat left their imprint on a generation, thousands returned home bearing shrapnel and scars. Still more were burdened by the visible wounds of post-traumatic stress, of Agent Orange, of memories that would never fade. More than 58,000 laid down their lives in service to our nation. Now and forever, their names are etched into two faces of black granite, a lasting memorial to those who bore conflict's greatest cost. And whereas our veterans answered our country's call and served with honor on May 29, 1973, the last of our troops left Vietnam. Yet, in one of the war's most profound tragedies, many of these men and women came home to be shunned or neglected, to face treatment unbefitting their courage and a welcome unworthy of their example. We must never let this happen again. Today, we reaffirm one of our most fundamental obligations, to show all who have worn the uniform of the United States the respect and dignity they deserve, and to honor their sacrifice by serving them as well as they served us. Over half a century after those helicopters swept off the ground and into the annals of history, we pay tribute to the fallen, the missing, the wounded, the millions who served, and the millions more who awaited their return. Our nation stands stronger for their service, and on Vietnam Veterans Day, we honor their proud legacy of our deepest gratitude. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hodson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Canby, do hereby proclaim March 29th, 2016 as Vietnam Veterans Day. And I call upon all Americans to observe this day with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities that commemorate the anniversary of the Vietnam War. Given under my hand the 16th day of March 2016. Who's accepting this today? Thank you so much, sir. Very much appreciate that. You want to take a moment to say your names and introduce the guys with you?
Do I have to?
We like to give as much people as camera time as possible.
First off, I'd like to say a few things if I could and speak on our memorial just south of town. Thank you, Mayor Hodson and distinguished members of the council. On behalf of the Canby Aurora VFW, the Canby Vietnam Area Memorial Committee, and especially the Vietnam veterans in the city of Canby, I'm very honored. Sorry. To receive this proclamation from you proclaiming March 29th, 2016 as National Vietnam Veterans Day in Canby, Oregon. Located at the south entrance of Canby on a piece of land donated by Burgerville, USA, sits the Canby Vietnam Era Memorial. As you crest the hill into town, you are greeted by a Bell UH-1 helicopter, known as a Huey. The memorial is a reminder of the sacrifices and services to those who served in the military during the Vietnam era. The helicopter is a likeness of the medevac, which had the call sign of Dust Off in 1963. During the Vietnam War, wounded servicemen and women were airlifted to hospitals within an average of 35 minutes, saving thousands of lives. The memorial, which started in 2000, took 11 years to complete, with the land, helicopter, and other amenities at the park being either donated or purchased through the years of fundraising. Most people who live in and around Canby during that time pitched in to make the memorial a reality, and in 2011 it was completed. It was a community effort with local businesses, government agencies, citizens, and local newspapers who were heavily involved in making it reality. The memorial is also a Blue Star Memorial, making it as one of thousands around the United States as a tribute to the armed forces that have defended the U.S. These memorials were started by the National Council of State Garden Clubs in honor of those who served in the armed forces. Canby residents Michael and Irene Brashears were the driving force behind the memorial. Michael said that he wanted it to be a place of healing, solace, and to remember the men in service who served their country in all of the different wars. At the memorial is a Bell UH-1 helicopter and a landing pad with a Red Cross on it. It also celebrates the Vietnamese cultures. The pavers that are under the helicopters make out a Shao symbol, meaning long life and longevity. It also features a Buddhist bell, above which is the inscription Vietnamese, "Believe in peace." The plants surrounding the memorial also harken back to Vietnam, with bamboo, pine, palm, and other plant materials that can be found in that country. Pennsylvania sculptor Wayne Hyde created the bronze statue, A Hero's Prayer, depicting a wounded soldier carried by another soldier with a Vietnamese girl holding the wounded soldier's hand. The wounded soldier represents Army Specialist Warren E. Newton of Canby, who was missing in action on January 18, 1968. The soldier carrying Newton's represents Marine PFC Gary W. Martini of Portland, who was awarded the Medal of Honor for rescuing 2 other Marines during the firefight that killed him at the age of 18 on April 21, 1967. When you stand at the park, it looks like the subjects in that statue are moving towards the Red Cross, where the helicopter will land. It's a very powerful image if you take the time to really look at it and think about the war. When today's men and women come home from the war, they're given a hero's welcome. It wasn't anything like that 50 years ago when our Vietnam War veterans came home. Actually, it was quite the opposite. But America has learned important things since then. No matter how you feel about the policies of war today, always we honor, respect, and pay tribute to those who have answered the call of duty. To the Vietnam veterans, I thank you and welcome home.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce some of the members of our VFW group in back. Rick Gano on the end, Robert Ziegler, our commander in back. It'll come to me. Martin Lackner, Mike Zagava, and I don't know this gentleman here.
John Serlet.
John, pleased to meet you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Communications this evening.
I have nothing.
Nothing? Okay. It's our first opportunity for citizen input and community announcements. Generally, if you have a asked for a little yellow card to be filled out and brought up to Kim. But if anyone is so wanting to come up to the dais or the podium there and address us, you're more than welcome to. Going once, going twice. All right, no takers this evening. Move into mayor's business. Amanda, a couple of things regarding the bi-monthly reports in our packet. Question, I was reading through the police piece, and there's now a distracted driver diversion program that's being offered. Maybe Joe can throw out his 2 cents on this. My question, is that for the first offense only?
Yes.
Okay, and this is in lieu of what?
Well, usually it's a $160 ticket.
Okay,
And the program kind of is replacing, we used to have a similar program for seatbelts.
okay,
And what it actually does is it does a couple of things. It gives people a warning instead of going on their record. It gets them to a class to kind of learn, about the dangers of the activity, and, gives them kind of a rewind, if
Okay.
you will, so that it gives them a second chance. The seatbelt one used to be the case, and it, I think, was successful enough, plus the fact that seatbelts have been around now for a while as violations, and so more and more people now were obeying that one. So it became apparent to the police that this new activity of being on your cell phone seems to be so prevalent and dangerous, and they wanted to basically give people a second chance. It actually encourages officers to write the ticket more. You'd be surprised. I think officers forgive people more than people realize, because they see people on them all the time. So now they're more inclined to pull people over every time they see them, because they know they'll give them a second chance as well. So I think overall they're hoping to boost safety, give people a second chance. But really what it is a $50 class and a fee instead of a violation. And if you're successful in that endeavor, it doesn't go on your record for the first time.
so now that's at Judge Graff's discretion, so, I mean, do the officer know that they've had their one-time diversion?
No, they don't. They don't know.
Okay.
So what it will do is, if you're a bad actor more than once, then arguably you really deserve to have that ticket, right?
Right.
So I mean, if you've gone through the program again, then maybe it's just as well that you're getting pulled over again, and that you then have to, have the violation on your record.
So are we going to see Judge Graff handing these out like candy then?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, the idea is if you're a first-time offender and you haven't had one of these before, then we want you to go to that class and pay a smaller fee, but then not necessarily have to have a moving violation on your record. So.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely an interesting piece out there right now, for sure. Councilor Henry?
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor. If I remember correctly, the seatbelt diversion class fees helped fund the bike helmets for the bike rodeo.
Correct.
Is it going to be the same kind of situation with the distracted drivers, or where's that class fee going this time?
I believe that I believe it's a slightly different class. Before the proceeds went to half of it went to trauma nurses who taught that class to their program, and then half of it went to the bicycle helmets. I think they're trying to decide where to put the money, but they want to have a charitable
It'll fund
contribution.
some kind of
Yeah.
program like that. Okay.
But I think the one class that they're taking is a slightly different one. It is a standalone class called U-Turn 180. And so I think they themselves as a business, the money that is paid to them goes to them.
So there may not be
If
any
there's
proceeds.
additional fees
Okay.
involved with the program, and I think there is, those I think will be allocated in a charitable way.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second thing in there too was, for those of you that don't know, so Philander Lee Tree, which is over there by the Container Store, is now part of the Oregon's Heritage Tree Program. And there will be a reception and kind of a big what to do about the Philander Lee Tree. I have April 8th in my calendar. The report said April 2nd. Can we get a,
That was actually going to be part of my report tonight, Mayor. I have April 8th.
you have April 8th. I'm going to go with April 8th
The tree.
And I think
for the
that's,
tree. At the, I believe it's going to be at the tree.
Where else?
I would hope so. Okay.
Yeah.
So mark your calendar, April 8th. We'll be doing, I think it's at 1 o'clock. Is that correct, Councilor Parker?
that's what I have.
All right. Thank you all. I had a meeting of so I sit on the Region 1 Area Commission on Transportation. So we had our monthly meeting and actually there's been an allocation of federal dollars to the state for, they're calling them FAST funds. So there's going to be some additional money being added to the 17-18 State Transportation Improvement Project list. And so with that added funds, and then we, as a group, are looking to reallocate some funds that are for projects on Highway 217 to alleviate, and then are going to go to projects on I-205 and I-5. The I-5 piece is they're going to try to add, looks like we're going to do another lane between the 217 on-ramp down to Wilsonville is what, so it looks like we're going to be adding another lane to kind of widen I-5 along there, and then 205 between West Lynn and kind of through the Stafford areas, where we're looking to kind of add some additional lane activity on 205. So we'll start to see, that those projects start to kind of gin up and get going here over the next couple of years. So that was kind of again, truly it was a fast, because like they allocated the funds and they wanted immediate impact on projects. So, but just let everyone know about that piece there. Had a field meeting with Senator Merkley's field rep for Clackamas County. He and I met here in Canby, and we just we talked, we discussed our economic development and things that are going on here in Canby and the industrial park. We also spent a lot of time talking about transportation and roads and our connectivity to future economic development pieces, especially for our industrial park and for Clackamas County. And then we walked it downtown, and I shared with them some of the projects that showed them the new civic building and library, showed them, kind of walked them through some of the conversation about the city block. And so it sounds like they want to try to do next time the senator has a break, they want to do kind of a tour and include Canby on the tour to highlight some of the businesses that we have here that are both that are more probably on an international level. So I brought up, trying to tie into Dragonberry and Postal Weight. And so I will get with Renata and kind of put that on her radar as well to kind of start getting that dialed in. And so he would be in contact with her to get that going. So that was a real productive meeting with Senator Merkley's office. And that's kind of it for me for now. And we'll go over to Councilor Rocha.
Mr. Mayor. On Parks and Rec, on Logging Road Trail, Matilda has submitted a pre-grant application for funding to complete the master plan to reconnect the logging road between Canby and Molalla. The county will definitely be a major partner. Matilda's working on securing the support of Canby Fair Board, Molalla Buckaroo Board, City of Molalla, Chamber of Commerce, Oregon Equestrian Trails, local and regional bike and ped groups, and Clackamas County Parks. She's also working with the county, setting up brainstorming session in the near future to identify key stakeholders. The final application will be submitted mid-June, and the awards announced in August. The project has regional impact and will be a real jewel for Canby.
Absolutely.
The survey for Parks and Rec is about ready to come out. Should be posted this week. Survey Monkey link on the website, city's website this week. 1,800 hard copies will go out to randomize the list of Canby voters. This is in hopes of getting around a 20% return rate, which is a typical response rate, and the hard copy should go out next week. And she's also working with Wilderness International on grants, so they may be able to work out some of the restoration work along Willow Creek in the Willamette Wayside property off Territorial. And they're also willing and able to manage dog park volunteers. So if that ever comes about, they're looking at being able to do volunteer managing for that. So that's all I have.
Great. So when that survey is going to come out? Next couple of
Survey
days?
should be on the city's website this week, and then next week the hard copy should go out.
And for those viewing at home, can you give a little background on the survey and what we're trying to encourage and get information on?
Survey to try and get information on the current city parks, what's expected, what they like, what they don't like, just get a good feel for what our current parks are and what they would like to see.
Okay.
for future planning.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Well,
Councilor Parker.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome to the viewing audience members of Canby Now. I put a link on today. I said we had a rather short agenda, but it was always an entertaining time during councilor comments. So appreciate our new viewers, and let us know if you have some questions. Back to the Philander Lee dedication that's coming up. I did want to thank the members of our Historic Review Board. They were the ones that nominated it, got this going, and under the heading of things I never knew, there are people who travel the state and look at historic trees. And by getting this on the historic tree chart, we're actually going to be increasing tourism into town. So wait for it, Councilor Dale. So out there at the fairgrounds there, tourists coming into Canby looking at this historic tree, what would they need?
A treehouse.
A hotel.
He wants me to say hotel.
So we can hope that just adds to the momentum on that. But again, thanks to our citizen groups for what they did. They make this town even better. I did want to also mention that, and Tracy, maybe you can follow up on this as well, that the Independence Day celebration group is looking for vendors, food vendors, and also craft items. So contact Jamie Stickle, who has assured me she has not yet achieved a brain aneurysm in setting this program up, but we are finding out just how much work that volunteer committee did. It's rather amazing. So we appreciate the work of the old General Canby days and appreciate the work of our volunteers and our staff on the new Independence Day celebration. I was going to mention, see if anybody's sharp enough here, 6 months from today.
opening Civic Center.
Todd, way to go. Yeah, that we're scheduled to have the library substantially completed, so I think that's something that we can all look forward to. And finally, and Tracy, I know you've got a C4 report, and Mayor, I've talked to you about this as well, that in reading in the Canby Herald, from Peter Wong, writing about Clackamas County Commissioners, that their plan to try and pull Stafford out of the urban reserves included 300 acres east of Canby. And so I don't know if anybody has figured out what that means yet, but I'd sure like someone who's got better relations with the commissioners than I do to find out what's on their mind there, because I'd kind of like to have a say in what their little switch pitch is to pull Stafford out, that if they want to put 300 acres into the reserve that's not currently there, we should probably have a discussion with them about it. So
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I know that Commissioner Bernard is kind of heading that up, so I will reach out to him and get on his calendar. You're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
You're up. Okay, yes, General Canby Days now, Canby Independence Day celebration the planning is coming along nicely. I went to a parade meeting this week. Not really much new to report. We finalized the new parade route. One significant change that wasn't talked about before, and I told you before, we're going down Fur to First, or down Elm to First Street instead of down Second. We're also going to cut the Triangle Park. It's not going to turn all the way, we'll go past the park and turn, and because it's kind of hard for the semi trucks and such. So they're going to actually go straight through that, what is normally a one-way street the other way.
Okay.
So the left side, I'm going to say, because I don't know if it's, I guess it's the west side of the Triangle Park.
Yes.
So watch for the route map, because if you sit on Holly in front of the old Cutsforce house, you won't see the parade there. Or you'll see a lot of heads in your way anyway. So that is one significant change. And yes, Jamie has parade entry forms ready as well as vendor entry forms. So if you're interested in participating as a vendor or as a parade participant, then see her or just go to the website. They're available on there, I believe, or they will be shortly if they're not yet. Main Street Design Committee, we met today and actually talked about how we're not going to meet much anymore. We're going to go to quarterly now. The work of that committee is pretty much finished as far as designing what the programs will be and such, and all of our applications that we look at for facade improvements and things like that are pretty much done by email now. So as much as we enjoy each other's company, we decided maybe our time could be spent elsewhere and meet less often. So we will only be having design reports every few months now. Traffic Safety Commission, I attended that meeting. I'll let Clint report on it. Very interesting discussions going on there regarding stop signs. I'll look forward to Clint's report. And on C4, the discussion was much of actually what you already reported on the act. And then the other piece of the discussion was the advisory vote for the county road funding and what that's going to look like when that comes through. Of course, the Board of County Commissioners will be looking to the cities for supporting that measure, and we'll discuss what that looks like, I would imagine, at the next C4 meeting.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Yes. And I think that concludes. And I'll just say I'm happy Sine Die happened 2 days early. That's all I got.
Perfect. Thank you. Council President Dale.
Mr. Mayor, keep it brief tonight. Canby Utility has a couple very interesting things brewing that will help ensure Canby has excellent customer service and water and power in the near future. But what about that gel just a little bit?
Okay.
And just give you a little tease for now. We'll report on it in another month or two. They got some exciting things going to help keep our city blessed. And I just want to make a comment. I've had the opportunity in the last couple of months to witness firsthand Canby Police Department, Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, and Oregon City Police Department in how they train for terrible things happening at our schools. I got to witness that firsthand, and without going into details, I just wanted to pass on to you how impressed I am with the relentless training that our own police department does. The partnerships that Chief Smith has forged with our neighboring agencies, I watched them train together. They teach for each other. They host for each other. And particular personal thanks to Sergeant Kitzmiller and Officer Sharmota for all the incredible work they do for our own city in that regard. And maybe a shout out about Detective Murphy.
Absolutely.
His school.
No, go for it, sir.
Just want to encourage everyone, as you get your Canby Heralds today, to be sure to read the front page story. We have its author here on Detective Murphy and the lead that he took in one of the largest drug busts that we've had in recent history. A phenomenal takedown, lots of value, lots of harm removed from the streets, and just a great, great effort by Detective Murphy and Canby Police Department. A real banner day, and our thanks of all the council I know we've all shared with him individually go out to Detective Murphy for his fine work protecting us.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. That's right.
Thank you. So at the Canby Public Library Board meeting, there's a couple of things. The Friends of the library are also planning on making a donation for the new library, of course. Today's quite a boon for donations. We've got 50,000 times 2. The Friends are going to, though, donate a reference desk. That's their goal, and that's $15,000. So there's something else to add. That's on their slate, so they're planning to do that. Also, there's a new cultural pass for the World of Speed Museum in Wilsonville. I've never actually been there. Have any of you been there?
Didn't buy it, looked in it, and it was like,
Yeah, Logan wants to go
Now-
so bad.
Okay, we can go for free now because we've got passes at the library. So it's an educational museum featuring the historic race cars, boats, and motorcycles that tell the story of motorsports culture. So that's in a nutshell what that museum is. Just to, yeah, in Wilsonville, so good for them. And then the Dollar for Dollar campaign, you know, the library did in February. They took in about $2,800 in fines that month. So that was pretty successful. Usually they average about $1,700. So that's a substantial increase in fine payments with that incentive. So that was good. And then that hero story time I mentioned last time, apparently it's the canine unit. There's a couple, there's one dog and one officer that are doing the story time on March 18th at 3. So a dog in the library.
Bring in the puppy.
Yeah, yeah. And then also a couple of other little, or not little, but programming events. There's something called Never Ending Stories. Angelica, our bilingual librarian, for a couple of years she's put this on. So it's actually a storytelling, not reading of books, and it's aimed at Spanish-speaking families, kind of to preserve the cultural oral tradition through storytelling. So that'll be for everyone. It's open to all non-Spanish speakers too, and that's the 31st of March at 6:30. And then there's a Ukrainian egg decorating just in time for Easter, so that's March 22nd at 6 p.m. too. So that's for adults and teens, not for the little kids so much, but so that's a crafty endeavor there. And then the Canby Adult Center, you know, Kathy Robinson came last time to present to us. And so today was the Share a Meal. They do that every year. So they invite the businesses to come. They order from the menu, the Canby Adult Center menu, and then they charge $10. It's usually like $2.25 for a meal there. So it's a fundraiser, and about 30 to 50 businesses usually participate. So it's kind of a fun community endeavor they do. And so they did that today. And then you know how she asked us to do a ride-along with Meals on Wheels? I actually did that, I guess it was this week on Monday, and it was fun. We did a rural route. The driver was June, so we had our coolers in the back of the car, and we went out New Era and Malino, and yeah, it's nice. She has a nice rapport with the folks. She brings the meals, and they're thankful, and it was nice to see how that's done.
good.
And there's an army of volunteers that do this, as Kathy said, so it was fun. I'm glad that we were invited to do that. And then another fundraiser, there's a lot of fundraisers going on. Burgerville, actually tomorrow, some percentage of the proceeds will go to the Canby Adult Center tomorrow from 5 to 8. So if you patronize Burgerville, they'll donate some to the Canby Adult Center. And then the Canby Fights Hunger Days, I haven't heard a report how that went. That ended on the 13th of March, but hopefully we'll hear soon from David Rankin what kind of food items they brought in for that. And then other things, Zor Lutheran does a community dinner every Tuesday night, which probably a lot of you know about. I decided to drop in last week to see how that was. And the Canby Kiwanis, coincidentally, some of our ladies in the audience were there volunteering, so they partner with other groups. So there's some of the congregation were there, other community volunteers, and they had a wagon. Luana Hill was sitting in the front row here earlier. She had a wagon with books, and she was giving out free books to the kids. So it was great. It was a meal. It was literacy. It was really nice to see that partnership of community groups. So that's great that they do that. Let's see. Oh, Willamette Falls, I toured that today. We got an email, from Commissioner Smith a couple weeks ago. I signed up. I finally did it. It was It was fun. Yeah.
It's an amazing, really good,
It's
amazing
just so
project.
big. I think, what did they say, 500,000 square feet. There's 55 buildings. Apparently all of them could potentially qualify for the National Historic Registry. Not sure if they will. But I got the idea, or I learned that the trail, what are they calling the trail? The Riverwalk. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the first piece of the puzzle. So it was helpful to kind of understand. Might take a year and a half of planning, it sounds like, in the end. But there's a community input night on, March 30th from 3 to 8, downtown Oregon City in the Abernathy Center. So that's for everybody, Canby citizens. You can give your input. What do you want the Riverwalk to look like? So that should be fun. Meet some architects. But it's good outreach, good community outreach. Yeah. And then lastly, the French Prairie Forum. I met Mark Ottenan recently of City of Wilsonville, and he invited me to attend. I think Brian Brown used to quite a bit, and when he had more time, he's kind of stuck in the office more these days. So I thought, okay, I'll represent Canby. Sure. So it's a group, 2 counties. It's Marion County, Clackamas County, about 8 cities, Wilsonville and us, Woodburn, St. Paul. Anyway, it's kind of this sort of advisory group that gets together and talks about legislative issues that we have in common. Today we did a legislative review of what happened during the short session. Marion County, a couple commissioners were there. They talked about some priorities. They talked about their Public Safety Council, and then some small cities talked about transit needs, et cetera. But it was really interesting to make those connections. And transportation's a major focus, so I'll definitely be getting in touch with you and Brian Brown so I can convey what our concerns in future. Yeah,
they've got a lot, that group has a lot going on, and with all the development of the airport and all that, that's going to be a major piece for sure. So, thank you for going to that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good.
And that's all I've got.
Yeah, we talked about going to Oregon City and doing the tour. It's an immense project. I mean, I think most of us have done that.
I've gone 3 times. I love it. It's a cool tour.
Is there a timeline? I mean, I know funding right now is
Funding
with a
is
lot of
the
things
key.
the big thing,
But they do have $2 million already allocated for the Riverwalk.
Right.
So that's going to happen.
I think 20. The state, during this session, I think, put in like 20, and their goal was 25. So they feel confident, like, hey, we're only $5 million away from rolling here. So it sounds like they were psyched. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a major development there. I mean, it's...
And Mayor, don't you think that this is going to have an impact on Canby and its tourism as well?
Absolutely. I think we end up being huge benefactors from having that development occur. I mean, that's just going to kind of carry down late 99 to us and beyond. So, I think over the next decade, we're going to see quite a bit of opportunity from that project alone. So it is a regional impact for sure. If you've not had the opportunity to do the tour, I think they run it a couple of times each month, and it's pretty fascinating to see, like, the original turbines are still in there from generating the power, and it's pretty amazing. So thank you, it was great. Councilor Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Joe, for bringing up that distracted driver diversion program. I would like to hear about that in traffic safety. Speaking of traffic safety, we had a meeting on Monday, March the 7th. We're continuing discussions on the intersection of 10th and Ivy, and we've requested that Public Works do a traffic count. And, if I were a betting man, I expect there to be a 4-way stop there at some point. But I think, as Northwoods gets built out, there's more traffic going on. But that's a work in progress. And just want to say how much we appreciate citizen input coming to our meetings and sharing concerns. In fact, this last meeting, we had a couple that came and shared concern about North Elm and 2nd, the intersection there, because a lot of times you have to really nudge out to be able to see, and it can be quite dangerous. And so that's a work in progress, and with Public Works help and police and fire, we sure appreciate. And we haven't come to a conclusion there, but we will work hard on that, and I'll report on that. On the Canby Rodeo front, I attended the coronation dinner and auction this past Saturday. It's a fundraiser for the rodeo court. It's very well attended, and lots of fun was had by all. On the Planning Commission, we met this past Monday, and they approved a request to subdivide 8.8 acres located on 13th, Southeast 13th Avenue into 36 lots. Wow. And this will be done in 3 phases. And the local property owner and developer, Ralph Netter, and his 2 sons they're very reputable builders in the community, so couldn't have a better one for that. On the design committee front, I also attended the meeting today with Tracy Hensley, and it's really been fun when we have a facade improvement that comes along, and we mostly review those on the internet, but there's been a lot of improvements, and it's exciting to see that. I really have to congratulate once again the Fred Meyer gas station, and actually we should probably give thanks to all the other gas stations that really prodded them to have a really fine design, and it's really made their neighbors next door, the Canby Cleaners and Pizza there, really spruce up, so that really looks sharp. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. In the our bi-monthly reports, talking about the design piece, and sounds like we're getting some traction on finally for Holly Mall. Yep. We're getting some activity on that, so that's
In fact, we did talk about that a little bit today, and they are still moving forward.
Good.
There's connections that are being made finally, so we're going to see some improvements over there.
so Renata's
Yay.
drip campaign and marketing is paying off. That's good.
Well, you sent a letter as well, Mayor.
I did, yes, and I think we'll give Renata the credit. She's the one that's probably dripping on them more than I am, so.
So you gave them the gravitas of your office.
There you go.
All right, we'll put a little extra mayor oomph behind it there. We'll move into the consent agenda for this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of the minutes of the March 2nd, 2016 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, or motion's been made by Council President Dale and seconded by Councilor Hensley to approve the consent agenda, which this evening just contained the minutes of the March 2nd, 2016 City Council regular meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That carries 6-0. We're going to move into a public hearing this evening. We have a public hearing for the noise variance application for the Canby Swim Club for May 9th, 2015, between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. for the Gator Grinder. Let me read the legislative, right? We're doing legislative tonight, Kim. Thank you. Public hearing format. The matter presently before the hearing body requires a public hearing. All interested persons in attendance shall be heard on the matter. If you wish to testify on this matter, please fill out a yellow comment card, like so, and give it to the city recorder, who sits thusly. At the appropriate time, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and interest in the matter. Those people that are interested in testifying as either proponents or opponents, please indicate your desire to speak by raising your hands at this time. Thank you, sir. For longer presentations, proponents and opponents may buy time from one another. In so doing, those either in favor or opposed may allocate their time to a spokesperson who will represent the entire group. All questions must be directed through the mayor. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access. All written testimony received both for and against shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff reports. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. We will do the staff report, questions, if any, by the hearing body or staff. I will open the public hearing for testimony. Proponents will have not more than 3 minutes, and opponents not more than 3 minutes. I will then close the public hearing. Questions, if there are any other questions by the hearing body, and then we will have discussion by the hearing body. A decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future, and this will be the only notice of that date you will receive. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure or the hearing? Seeing none, great. We'll go into staff report.
Okay, Avery, first of all, I want to say there's a little typo on the agenda that the mayor made me copy the wrong one, so it's actually May 7th, 2016. So a request has been received from the Canby Gators Swim Club for a noise variance on May 7th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The variance is for a Gator Grinder triathlon, and a noise variance was previously granted last year for the event. Some changes were made to the sound system last year because there were concerns from the previous year. Per our code enforcement officer, there were no complaints received after the event last year, nor did we receive any at City Hall or did the swim center. A mailing was mailed out to residents within 200 feet, and we did receive a letter this week in opposition to the noise variance.
Okay,
And the applicant is here.
great. Thank you, Kim. Any questions for staff at all in the report? No? Okay. Well, then I will open up the public hearing.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question?
I will detract my gavel.
Do we know how many years this event has gone on?
I think 12.
12 years.
Okay.
Good. All right.
That's all I have, sorry.
Oh, no, perfect. All right, gavel back on. All right. So we will, any proponents, we have the one letter that I think that we've all read and received.
Yes.
So we'll take that. Any other proponents at this time? Not seeing any? Well, Chip, if you'd like to come up and do your 2 cents, that'd be great. Good evening, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
So I'm Chip Greendale. I'm the race director for the Gator Grinder. I created and organized a race 12 years ago as a fundraiser for the Canby Swim Club. Actually became their biggest fundraiser. The race has been very successful and very well thought of in the race community. We've sold out every single year that we've done the race. Some years we sold out within an hour. So that was very, very nice. Last year, when I talked to you, I told you about a lot of the benefits to the community and the kids that the race brought on, and I can go back over that again if you would like. When I left last year, you suggested, going back a second, the official noise variance said that I could start music at 7:30. You suggested maybe a neighborly thing to do would be to wait to 8, and last year I did that. And what I also did last year to be neighborly was I kept the music at a lower volume until 9. I wouldn't let them do it up any louder. And at that point, we went to our normal volume. The other thing that I've done trying to be neighborly, trying to work with the community, is that the rules say that I need to send out mailings, or actually I need to give you addresses for mailings within 200 feet of the swim center. There's not a lot of houses within 200 feet. I picked 600 feet, and the reason I picked 600 feet is, one, it's obviously 3 times, but 2, I knew who the complaint was, and by doing 600 feet, I get her house in it. And though she'd given me a complaint, I felt that she had the right to be heard, and so I make sure that she gets the mailings announcing the meeting and the variance and stuff. We've tried for all the years we've been here. One of my big goals is trying to be good with the community. We've had a couple flops. We used to, when we first started the race, we set it up we were there at 5 setting it up, and we had metal bike racks, and we were bringing out, dropping them on the asphalt. Neighbor came over and in his pajamas and mentioned that probably wasn't a good idea. Now we take them out. We talk very quietly. We set them down with kid gloves. We're as quiet as possible. We understand that if we upset the community, that the race is over. We do our best to be as nice with the community as possible. On our bike course, we send out, we have a volunteer that runs around and puts flyers on every house on the bike course that's on the side of the bike course, so everyone knows what's going on. We do whatever we can. So I think that's pretty much my spiel. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
I don't have, I have a comment, but any questions at all? Councilor Parker?
Yeah, last year I got on you. I said I want to make sure that we record all of our complaints, comments, that sort of thing, and according to city staff, there were no complaints. So 2 of my family members have participated in this. I think it's not only a good community event, it's something that helps inspire us to get out and do healthy activities. So appreciate your continued participation in this.
Thank you. On to that, one of the things I really like about the event is it shows the kids that you can still be active and do those things as an adult. And that you can also, I know the kids, my son was on the swim team years ago, and I was an athlete. I know when before an event, you're nervous, you're going to throw up, you spend all your time in the bathroom. And the kids do that, and when the kids see the adults doing that, and then they see them setting goals, and they see them achieving their goals and being happy, or not achieving their goals and being sad, just like the kids do, it gives them the feeling that they can go on in the future and do those things. So I think it's really healthy modeling for the kids at the pool.
No, I agree.
So, and that's why I've done this event. I actually get paid now, but I was a volunteer without a kid on the swim team for many years. That's great. Yeah, because I believe in the event.
Did you have something? Yes.
We appreciate how neighborly you really have been. I mean, your actions last year and extending to 600 feet, that's really kind.
Thank you.
And so thanks. The community appreciates it, and yeah, and it's a fun event. I've been told by friends. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I know the event goes right by my house, and so I think it's a great event. I think it's a great Canby event, and yeah, I appreciate all that you have done over the 12 years too. You know, as Councilor Hyde just said, just to be neighborly and be conscientious of, because now you've got more houses that have been built between last year's grinder and this year's grinder, and so it just made me think too with lacrosse tournament coming up where everyone's going to park. So it'll be interesting logistics on a few events. But I appreciate the event, and I'm glad that it's here. And I think it'd be great to see it grow, but I know that we've got to do certain things on other levels to make it grow. So we appreciate that a lot,
We've
Chip.
had that argument for many years at the pool.
So with that survey that's going out, I think great opportunity to, and I mean this in all seriousness, to put that out to the families of the swim team to make sure that they participate in that survey, because that is a big conversation piece that we are having and will be having coming up. So that'll be good. Any other comments or anything?
All good, thanks.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Could I ask a question of Joe? Joe, if you were to start up a lawnmower or a leaf blower, what's the time on that? I think I asked this question last year.
I believe it's 8 a.m.
So it's 8 a.m.
And so,
Is it 8? I'm going to talk with my neighbors then.
is it 7?
7 or 7:30. I think it's 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I bring that up is, by comparison, you're not making near as much noise. And I mean, people are mowing their lawns. If it's nice out, they're using their blowers, and this is a wonderful event for the community, and so I think it's terrific. I think it's a great day for any opponents to take a vacation.
Chip, thank you. Appreciate your comments. So I'll take an opportunity to close the public hearing right now. Any other comments or questions at all? Okay. Any further discussion on this at all? Okay.
Could I actually make a comment, though?
Yes.
It is true somebody could, start a lawnmower or a chainsaw pretty darn early in the morning, in the spring. The idea perhaps could be, sometimes when people have the bass really turned up because they want it like booming, there might be a way to tweak the bass, turn it down ever so slightly too, because that seems to be the part of the audio that really carries and thumps into people's homes. So that might be an idea too, to be neighborly.
All right, well, I guess we'll monitor it again this year and see what happens, but I think we're good. Okay.
Do we have to approve it, or
Yeah, what's next?
do you have to approve this?
They brought a motion for the,
That must be on.
I've already closed it.
So it's motion time.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move to grant a noise variance to Canby Swim Club for the North Lake Physical Therapy Gator Grinder Triathlon on May 7th, 2016, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
I'm going to second that.
Great, motion's been made by Council, can I have that, please? Thank you. Motion's been made by Council President Dale and seconded by Councilor Hensley to approve the noise variance to Canby Swim Club for the North Lake Physical Therapy Gator Grinder Triathlon on May 7th, 2016, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 6-0. Thank you. Any new business this evening? City Administrator or Assistant City Administrator staff report? Business?
I have nothing, thank you.
You have nothing. Okay.
Mayor, I do have one thing that's related to the Deputy City Administrator.
Okay.
That Amanda's been doing a terrific job on the library, keeping that on track, but also I want to thank you for the extra hours and work you've been putting in the administrator's office. It is not gone without notice, and we appreciate having depth on the bench.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Council Parker. I agree. No, it's not. Yeah. Thank you. Staff, I mean, all the staff too. Thank you, Amanda, for that. Let's see, action review.
You have approved the consent agenda, and you've approved the Canby Swim Club noise variance.
Great, thank you, Kim.
Now
it took us
5
an hour
minutes
and
to do all that.
Exec session this evening, Joe.
No, there is not.
Okay.
All right.
Before I adjourn, I will say, wear green tomorrow or be pinched if it is St. Patrick's Day. And then for those, I think Canby school districts are officially on spring break, I think Friday. My kids got out today and they're really excited. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but we'll handle it.
Well, you're lucky.
But everyone have
Nice.
a safe spring break and have a happy Easter. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Hensley and seconded by Councilor Roche to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good night, Canby. Thank you.
I've been out all week and the weather's been stinky.